Chapter 15, Mr. Bigsby. After lunch, it was like my conversation with Mr. Green had never happened. He taught, he sang, he read a story. He was just Mr. Green. He sure wasn't acting like a sidekick. And after school, he stood at the door and said bye to us like he usually does. Don't forget your lunchbox, Sarah. Good luck at your game this afternoon, Andrew. Hey, Danielle, your backpack's wide open. See ya, Miles. Keep smiling, Trinity. When I came past, he said, "Stay cool, dude," and gave me a wink. I didn't go straight home. I sat on a bench at the edge of the playground, thinking, what was I going to do with my website now? And what was happening to Bubba anyway? Were they going to make him nicer? Could they do that? Were they going to kick him out of school? And if they did, why have a website? Why be Shredderman? Mr. Green seemed to think there was lots more I could do with the site. But right then, I was thinking that maybe I could just tear it down. Then I spotted Bubba. He was out in the parking lot, standing between his mother and father. I jumped off the bench and moved closer. I hid behind a tree and watched. Bubba's dad was unlocking their car and yelling at Mrs. Bigsby. Mrs. Bigsby started yelling back, but he grabbed her by the arm and kind of shoved her into the car. Then Mr. Bigsby started yelling at Bubba, and when Bubba said something back, Mr. Bigsby popped him across the head and shouted, "I said get inside." Where was my camera? Boy, that Mr. Bigsby was big and mean, a real bully. All of a sudden, I was Shredderman again. Only this time, I wanted to defend Bubba. How could his father be so mean? There was nothing I could do, though. Not now, anyway. They were already driving away. And as I watched their car peel out of the parking lot, I thought that maybe Bubba Bigsby wasn't born big and mean, full of teeth and ready to bite. Maybe Bubba had learned it from his dad. I wandered home, thinking about Bubba's dad, about my dad. What a difference. And it made me think about how lucky I was. My dad had never treated me like that, ever. By the time I got home, I had a new plan, a cool plan, one I couldn't wait to get started on. "Mom," I shouted when I burst through the door. "In here," she called from the kitchen. "Hey, can you take me over to the Gazette?" "The Gazette? Why?" "I want to see Dad, right away." She stopped smearing peanut butter in a celery stick. "Is everything all right?" I took the celery stick. "Everything's great." I chomped through peanut butter and said, "I want to talk to him about my project." "You do?" "Uh-huh. Can we go?" She dropped everything, grabbed her purse, and off we went. And when we got to Dad's cubicle at the Gazette, Mom leaned around the corner and said, "Surprise!" "Eve," Dad said, standing up. Then he noticed me. "Nolan!" "Hey, Dad." "Hey, I'm glad you caught me. I actually just got in from an assignment. Mr. Zilch had me chasing down some—" "Stephen," my mom laughed. "Don't you want to know why we're here?" "Of course." He looked at me. "You look like you have big news." I shrugged. "Well, no, I just changed my mind." "About your—" I could tell he was hoping it was about my project, but didn't want to risk guessing. I nodded. "About my project." "Well," he said, a smile stretching across his face. He glanced at my mom, but she shook her head and said, "I had nothing to do with this, Stephen, I promise. He came home from school wanting to see you." "So," my dad said, smiling at me, "am I calling the mayor, Mr. Zilch, Sarge?" I shook my head. "I want to do my project on someone better than them." "Shh," Dad whispered, looking around for Mr. Zilch. Who do you have in mind?" "Someone better than the mayor, or any sports hero, or the president, or even Bill Gates? Someone better than—" His voice trailed off, and he took a deep breath. "Nolan, when I said I could get you in touch with people, I meant in this community. I didn't mean the president or Bill Gates." "Dad," I said, grinning, "someone better than them." His eyes shifted from me to my mom and back again. I laughed. "I want to do my project on you." He stared at me. He stared some more. Then his chin started quivering. "On me?" I nodded. He gave me a hug, even picked me up off the floor a little. "Dad," I said, but it felt good. Super good.